try to rehabilitate them. I would think that the community would be the best place to try to divert young people from crime. And in our community, the only adequate, I guess, viable organization would be the church. I still believe that the church in the black community could do more than they're doing in terms of this. In our city, the church is really waking up to that, and I think a lot of things are happening. That's what Dr. Isabor was about in that program that he was looking at.
Very good. And Doctor, I think in terms of talking about some of the causes and what some of the other organizations are doing, how do we compare Tennessee with perhaps some of the other states in the South as well as outside of the South? Is this a national problem, and are we simply just overwhelmed nationally, or what?
There are some states that's worse than this state. Where I started doing this work was Michigan. And Michigan and some of the northeastern states, crime and what was happening to young black male was much worse than what's going on here, but we're catching up. I was looking at homicide in Michigan and in Detroit, and the statistics were showing that 1 in 4 young black male would get killed. When they die, if they died, it would be from getting killed. Tennessee is a little bit behind most of the states in terms of crime, but they are catching up rapidly. So I don't think we are that far behind to say that we can rest assured.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think you will recall that not long ago, Tennessee ranked homicide as the 6th leading cause of death among young black males.
Right. In Memphis, one year, I think it was '88, Memphis were one of those leading cities in homicide. Nashville and Memphis and Chattanooga and Knoxville are high in the homicide rate. And as drugs move into this state, and this is a place where the drug people seem to think they can come, we'll see homicide and crime get higher. And I don't think we should leave it to the criminal justice system alone to try to handle it. This is not a criminal justice system problem. As a matter of fact, the Surgeon General talked about homicide being a health problem, a public health problem. Anything that kills you
public
be
health.
a public health problem. So I think that, well, another thing that happened in the state of Tennessee, the governor and the legislators appropriated, I think last year, year before last, over $1 million to look at homicide and violent behavior in Tennessee. Now, you're aware of the Men of Distinction program. That's where that money came from. Black legislators were concerned with violence amongst young black men, so they appropriated that money for that.
Well, let me interrupt you there, Doctor, because we've heard quite a bit of this, of the Men of Distinction programs. And I say programs because not only is it a program here, but I think it sort of has a sort of a national connection. And you're also intimately involved with that program. Why don't you give us some information about your connection with it and perhaps some information about the program, period, because I think that that does represent at least one method whereby we might be able to deal with it in the community.
Well, let me give you a little history of that, because when I did the study on black men and homicide and their life expectancy, I looked at the life expectancy of black men, and their life expectancy is shorter than any other major group in the United States. And I was trying to find out the reason for that. Of course, homicide was one of the major reasons for that. Not only a low life expectancy, but it was a declining life expectancy in a time when everybody else's life expectancy is increasing. I looked at men who were in jail for homicide, young men who were going to Hubbard Hospital and General Hospital for acts of aggression, assault, and I thought at that time a good place to intervene was the emergency room men, to get these men who are coming into emergency room being cut and shot and fighting and eventually getting killed, and studying these men and find out what it is. And we attempted to do that at Meharry for a while. Then we determined that we should get to these men earlier than that. If we could get to them when they were younger, we could probably change the behavior before it got to where it was.
The emergency room.
So